Hello, everyone. Welcome to StreetMD versus Stefanos Sifandos. Stefanos, what's up, brother? You are a relationship expert, a behavioral scientist with over 15 plus years of experience in the personal development stage. You're the co-founder of Elementum Coaching Institute, and you help people heal unresolved trauma and childhood wounds. And I've been following your content for a while. Last year, I went through some crazy ass stuff in my life, and you were there for me in my time of need. I will never forget that. 2023 has just begun, and it's never been a more challenging start to a year that I could recall. Starting from the anniversary of my mother's passing, to family conflicts, relationship challenges, mental health issues, you name it. It's all hitting me at once. I've been working out like a champ, doing my meditations, eating clean, taking my supplements, all that good stuff, and it's just not happening. So I believe it's time for me to go back home. So I'm super honored to have you on the show today and to talk about relationships and how we could help out the good people here today. How are you?
Yeah, man, I'm well. Thank you. Thank you for having me, brother.
You know, nowadays with this modern dating landscape, my goodness, with all this technology and the dating apps, it certainly wasn't the way it was back in the day when you and I were growing up as young men, you know, with social media and God knows like what the hell people are going through nowadays. But not to sound like a psychiatrist, but how do you feel looking at the dating landscape? How does it make you feel, brother?
Man, I have a medley mix of emotions. The bigger parts of me are very, very concerned for those that are dating in today's world. Largely because I'm just seeing, I don't know if this is your experience as well. I am just seeing so many retracted, wounded, hurt people that isolate themselves because it's convenient to do so, that are unwilling to look at their pain. And as a result of that, really struggle to communicate and connect with other human beings. And so dating is very awkward. It's mismatched. People don't know their values. They don't know themselves. And I'm generalizing here with a very broad brushstroke, right?
Of course.
But dating is just generally uncomfortable. There's this illusion of plenty of fish in the sea. And the reality is that most of those fucking profiles are bots anyway. It's been proven on various platforms. And even if they're not bots,
Wait, I'm sorry, bot women or bot men?
I'd say it's more bot women.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Bot
Yeah.
men, bot women, or are there dudes behind those profile women pics and trying to scam money? I mean, that's a whole nother topic
I
too.
think it's a combination of both, but there's a lot of catfishing going on as well. That I know.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like there's so much to choose from, but it's not really the case. You know, we're basing our curiosities or our excitement about someone on these prima facie associations, the surface level, superficial associations. We're making decisions before we even get there, or we're only interested in casual sex, which is intrinsically nothing wrong with that. However, the no strings attached sex and encounters does open up a can of worms. We can go down that path in a moment. But I see a challenge for modern day dating. Now, the flip side to that is for those individuals that are authentic to themselves, and if authenticity is one of the highest, if not the highest vibratory state that we can be in, physiologically, psychologically, socially, relationally, etc., then those that are really authentic and true to themselves and know themselves are going to stand out in a sea of fakeness. And I don't necessarily mean that as a judgment. Actually, in fact, I don't mean it as a judgment. I mean it as people are wearing all of these masks because they're so insecure with themselves. and they're putting those masks out there, not putting themselves out there. That's a problem.
As a psychiatrist, the most common situation that I'm seeing here are people who are struggling with anxiety and stress. But number two, being relationship issues. And I'm like, hey, just to be clear, I've had my challenges too. I'm no relationship expert here, but this is a big deal for a lot of people. And I particularly feel bad for the Gen Z men out there, the young men out there, because nowadays I feel like women, thanks to social media and these dating apps, they have a myriad of options, especially if you're a very attractive young lady. You have guys from all over the world who have money and some sort of social status and wealth saying, I could fly you over to Greece and let's hang out. So when you have options like that, and you got some Gen Z dude that, doesn't have the financial means to support a girl like that, I feel like a lot of these younger dudes are being left out and they're struggling with depression and loneliness and isolation. Do you see that? Do you have some concerns for the younger men out there?
Yeah, I do. It's one of the reasons why individuals like Andrew Tate are doing so well.
Because one of my most famous things people attack me for is their little quote is they say, you said depression isn't real. What about the men who kills themselves? You don't care about men's mental health. I didn't say depression isn't real. I said feeling depressed is real. But the idea that depression is going to strike you in your mind and there's nothing you can do about it, I think that is promoting helplessness amongst depressed people, and that's the reason they kill themselves. I don't think that making people helpless in an unfortunate situation is the great thing to do. You have to give people hope. And I explained that when you believe in something, you give it power. And I gave a very simple example, an analogy. I said, if you take two people, one believes in ghosts and one doesn't. You put them both in haunted houses. And in the middle of the night, there's a bang. The person who believes in ghosts is now terrified. There's a ghost. They're calling an exorcist. They're panicking in the room. They're hiding. The person who doesn't believe in ghosts goes wind and goes back to sleep. It's the same noise. It's the same scenario, but it's the belief
that's powerful
in their mind that and ruins their life. It's the belief in their mind that turns against them. And I've said this many times. I don't even give a shit about right and wrong. You can tell me you can give me with every scientific proof in the world, depression, blah, blah. I refuse to believe in things that take my power away from me. I'm only going to construct a mental model that allows me to be as powerful as possible. If believing in the idea of depression is going to take my own power away, then I won't believe in it. I don't want to believe in things that make me weak. I believe in things that make me strong. And someone goes, oh, you're wrong. Listen, let's assume you're correct and that makes me wrong. Let's say that you're right and you're depressed. Why would I want to adopt the thinking of a man who is sad? Why would I want to think like you? Wouldn't it better to be wrong and be happy and have a sports car and a yacht and a private jet? You want to talk about right? Look at your life. Fuck it off. I don't give a shit if it's real or not. We're not about that. We're talking about success here. Get rid of your excuses. Stop defending the thing that's ruined your life and get to fucking work.
Because they're presenting a lifestyle that they're making big statements around this is accessible to anyone. And the reality is it's not accessible to anyone. It's accessible to few. And there are certain conditions and sacrifices and compromises and aptitudes that one must embody in order to be that. But what he promotes is the lifestyle, the luxury, the wealth, the affluence, the access to resources, and positions himself in a way. And I use him as an example. There are many out there. Position himself in a way where he gives those men hope. Now, there's two sides to that, right? Like there's the dark side to that and there's the light side to that. And it's when it's polarizing, it becomes dangerous though, right? So to answer your question very directly, yes, I am concerned for younger men that feel disorientated and lost and are doing one of two things, either looking to figures generally like that, and then they become, autocratic, controlling, little coercive, manipulative. They follow that PUA system, the pickup artistry system, and the manipulative side of that as well. Or they retract from the world. They sit at home in their parents' basement playing video games, and I'm just giving an example of what that could look like. But they just retract from the world. They're not social, and they're not bringing their gifts into the world either. And they're not feeding their own sense of curiosity. And they're just sort of getting by in life. They're not really, really hungry for life.
What do you think about these dating apps, man? I mean, in a way, it's good to allow people to find each other from where they normally wouldn't have been able to connect. But do you have certain dating apps that you would say these are more legit, a little bit cleaner, more genuine than some of these other ones that you might want to stay away from?
There are so many out there, man. It really depends what you want and what you're looking for. And whenever we're putting ourselves on a dating app or any platform where we're promoting ourselves, it really what's the most important thing is our profile, right? How we choose to present ourselves. And what I mean by profile is how genuine are we being with what we want? Do we know what we want? Are we very clear on what we want? And how do we express that? And are we expressing a version or versions of ourselves on that platform? And it's challenging because it's a snippet of who you are, right? But are we presenting a true version of ourselves, or is it a means to an end for us? And so, whatever platform you choose is going to be really dependent on what you're truly seeking and how honest you can be with that. And the best thing that we can do on any platform or any dating experience is just be really honest with what you want and who you are, as opposed to manipulating the situation or attempting to manipulate the situation because you think this is what the person wants to hear. And what you really want, for example, is just casual sex, but you don't think they're going to want that. So you're going to tell them something that you think they want to hear to give you the thing that you want. You can do that. It's dishonest. You can do it energetically, and in terms of building long-term trustworthy emotional relationships, vulnerable relationships that are vested in trust. That's not really going to happen. But if you're just honest from the start, you're going to get some people that say, hey, that's cool, thanks for being honest, but I'm not interested in that. But because people don't like rejection, because again, we haven't done our own work to be able to deal with that. And it's not rejection, it's just people's values colliding, right? Where one person's values not meeting someone else's values, but we take it personally, we see it as rejection. And so we avoid hard, or we avoid real conversations. And so for me, the dating apps can work for you if you use them with discernment, if you use them intentionally, if you're deliberate with them. For example, if you're just going to get on the toilet and sort of scroll on the dating app and swipe and do your thing whenever you've got a few seconds, you're not being very deliberate with it. Dedicate 20 minutes a day to go through your dating app to see what sincere matches would be there for you. But you have to know what you want. You've got to know yourself. But 30 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, doesn't matter what the number is, but be deliberate with how you use anything, like any tool, right? Be deliberate with how we use it.
Now, brother, I'm completely out of the loop here, but my clients are, I have this one lady who's dating 3 dudes right now, and she happens to like one of them, but she knows that dude is dating also. And I don't know how to ask this, but is there a certain minimum number of dates that one should go on before having that conversation? Are we officially together? Because she's been on a date with this guy, one guy, for probably like well over 10 dates, but the dude's still dating someone else too, dating around.
How does she feel about that?
Well, so she wants to tie the knot with this guy. I mean, not necessarily get married, but she wants to be committed.
Does he know that? Has she shared that with him?
She did not have that conversation with him yet, but the issue is that she doesn't know if it's the appropriate time. So she's asking me, and I'm like, let me ask my boy Stefanos, and I'll get back to you. So, but there's a common theme for a lot of people. They don't know when's the appropriate time to bring up the conversation. They don't want to scare people away. So what's a good way to direct people in that?
So the simple response to that is this, right? The simple response is, if you feel you are ready to go to the next level of commitment for you in this relationship, then that's the right time to share that with that individual. And if it's not aligned with them, better now than later. The more complex response to that is, it's not for me to say 10 dates is too little or not, or too much time or anything like that. Although if I was to give a perspective, gun to the head here, and assume I value my life, which I do, because I'm a papa and I value my baby girl so much. I want to be here for her,
man.
You're a papa now; it's a different story. You've been a papa for years, so I would say 10 dates is a decent amount of time to know, like, to be able to share that. That's not a big issue, right? And it still may not be enough for some, and that's completely okay. There's, again, no judgment there on my end. The point is, on that, you've got to go with how you feel. Let me go to the more complex response. So the more complex response is, look at the patterns in your own life. look at your dating history and your dating relationships and how you've felt when it's time to share something that is now true for you. Have you shared that? In which ways have you shared that? Have you withheld that? Is it time now to not withhold that? Is it time to break a pattern? How have those patterns served you in the past? So really understanding yourself in relation to the thing that is a concern for you very much matters in the relationship as well.
But there's also a lot of really conflicting information, like let's just say someone is completely new to dating scene and they're out there. And then there are people saying, tell her how you feel. And then other people saying, no, you got to like play cool first, be comfortable, make her laugh first, and just, take it slow, cook the turkey. So I think it can get really confusing for people because that's the point with this lady who's like, I really like this guy, but I also don't want to scare him away.
No, that's that. If you're scaring him away, he's not for you. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Like it's not, but it's as simple as that. Like it's not, both of those responses that you said, like the conflicting dating advice is both accurate. Yes, create mystery, create space. Don't do it from a place of manipulation and control. Do it from a place of courting and excitement and mystery. Fuck yeah, do that. And speak your truth when shit gets serious. But you as an individual who's on that path gets to decide. And like I said, the more complex response is look at your patterns, look at how you've shown up in the past, how you want to show up. Does it reflect who you've been and who you want to be? Yeah. And so really the answer to that is you have to go within. And maybe that's cliche and people don't want to hear it because people, especially fucking in America, we all want the quick fix, the quick hit. Give me the answer. I'll do it. Just give me the answer. No, figure it out yourself. Because when you figure it out yourself, you're going to learn something deeper about you. You're going to become more confident. You're going to become more resilient. You're going to become more agile, right? You're going to have greater psychological flexibility. You're going to be more adaptable. Go within and learn that about yourself and take the risks that you need to take. And yes, it comes with a risk. Like he may say, I'm not ready to do that. And she gets to really sit in that and say, does that serve me or not? You know what? It doesn't serve me. Thank you, but I have to end this relationship. And yes, it will hurt. And yes, she gets to grieve and she gets to clear some clutter and release some stuff, not only from that relationship, but probably from previous relationships, residue as well. And she moves on, expands, and becomes a better person for it. But we've got to take those risks. That's what dating's about.
Nowadays, I feel like we have a major commitment or lack of commitment epidemic. So I have a lady right now, a different lady who is in New York. She makes well over $500,000 a year. She does very well for herself, but her requirements are that the guy has to be more successful than her. He's got to be young, good looking, got to be into sports, XYZ 1, 2, 3. She's found a couple of them actually in New York City. But the issue that she's saying for not only herself, but for the other guys too, is that they have a hard time with commitment. And the reason being is they always in the back of their head feel like they could do better. Have you been seeing that with these dating apps? Like even if there's a good solid match, people aren't willing to commit because they feel that they could do better.
Yeah, that's what I was speaking to earlier around too many fish in the sea. There's this illusion that we have so much choice. Yes and no. Well, we do. Like technology has bridged that gap and globalization has bridged that gap and air travel has bridged that gap, but it's still an illusion that we have that much access to people. There's so many factors that impact a match, so to speak. I'm not just talking about like a digital algorithmic match. I'm talking about like an actual physical match when you meet someone and connect with someone in real person, right? And so it's driving this, I can do better. And maybe they genuinely can, right? But the place where it's coming from, I don't think it's healthy and it's sustainable.
There was a study done back in Russia, like Soviet Union, Russia. Back then, there was a point where they just had soap. You go to their, supermarket, they just had soap. You want a peanut butter, they just had peanut butter. And then I guess when, things changed over there and they had started having Skippy peanut butter versus Jif versus Reese's peanut butter. And they had different brands of soap like Ivory versus Dove versus Irish Springs. People started getting very stressed out because they didn't know what the hell to get. It was almost like more options, more stress.
Yes.
Do you see, with your clientele, the people that you work with, are they stressed with a lot of these different options in line with what we're talking about now?
Yeah, it's decision fatigue. I think it's one of the reasons why Steve Jobs wore the same clothes every day. Like he removed the, and I think Mark Zuckerberg does it as well. Like he removed the need to make choices that were irrelevant in his life, right? And I think it's this fear that we have that we're going to choose wrong, or we're not going to be happy, or that we have to be polarized in our joy. And it's not even joy, it's like this artificial happiness that we're pursuing, right? It's not like a real, real happiness and joy that holds substance. It has ebbs and flows in our states of being, right? That's part of it. But we learn to come back to homeostasis through our trials and tribulations. And it doesn't mean that we can never experience joy again if we face a challenge, but it's almost like we're in this constant pursuit of the honeymoon period, this addiction to the limerence phase of relating, right? The moment the honeymoon period is over, more of the whole person is shown to the partner, and you're showing more of yourself to each other. Right. And it's another level of relating, right? It's another level of being with each other, which is a beautiful level if we can continue to move through it, right? Yeah. However, what often happens is we're so addicted to that honeymoon period, and we're so averse to, doing that inner work and couples work together and navigating the complexity of relationship and doing deeper healing work essentially for our own selves, that we break up too early without really learning and gaining any new growth from that relationship. And we just bring the old self into a new relationship, which becomes an old relationship again.
What do you think is the reason for, I saw an article recently stating that the nuclear family in America has dropped down to an all-time low at 18%. Just 18% of U.S. households are nuclear families with American children, down from 40% since 1970s and the lowest since 1959. What do you attribute to that?
Yeah, it's a good question, man. I heard Vivek Ramaswamy, he's pulled out now of being a candidate for presidency, but one of his big values and what he was advocating for was this, I guess it was a nuclear family. It was marriage and children and so forth. And what do I attribute this to? I attribute it to a number of factors. I'm going to come back to us as individuals either not being able or not being willing to do our inner work. As a result of that, we project a lot of our trauma and our wounding onto each other, especially our partners. As a result of that, there's fracture in the relationship. And due to movements such as the feminist movement, and this isn't me having a dig on the feminist movement in any capacity, it's done wonderful things for our humanity, in fact, there have been some byproducts that have also been a detriment. And that's part of the natural swing. When there's unfair and lopsided hierarchy, the pendulum often, when it's swinging the other way, swings the other way fully and then comes back into the middle path, right? It takes a minute. So we're sort of in that pendulum swinging right now. But I think as a result of that, and women were empowered to divorce and leave abusive relationships, good, that's a really good thing. Because we should all be able to feel safe enough to leave any abusive relationship, if a relationship is abusive, of course. Right. But as part of that, it became the norm to, if you don't want to be with someone, you just separate. Like my grandparents never would have had that thought. Or maybe they had the thought, but it never would have been an option for them because they didn't grow up in that culture. So cultural values and norms have shifted over time, making things more acceptable, making certain practices such as divorce, separation more acceptable. Also, again, with the advent of technology and global interconnectedness and this illusion, or not only an illusion, but actually this access to more humans, and coupled with, again, this addiction to pleasure, right? Honeymoon period. I think all of these things and probably so many other, not probably, definitely so many other factors are influencing this separation and schism. And people don't have the opportunity to actually stay together and work through their problems, not as only a couple, but as an individual. Because when we're in coupledom, I think you know this, man, in any relationship, it brings out something in us that needs to be looked at, right? Now, that's not to say you have to stay in the relationship. Sometimes you need to leave the relationship, and not just because it's abusive or physically dangerous, because the relationship has its expiry date. Every relationship does, whether it's because you both die holding hands after being married for 80 years or you're together for 2 years and you realize this relationship's not for you, right? Every relationship has an expiry. But when we're talking about this destruction of the nuclear family or destruction of just a family, I think they're the contributing factors. I'd also say there's an extreme woke ideology as well that is infiltrating our media, mainstream media. By mainstream media, I'm speaking to what the general public is largely exposed to from major news stations. And I'm not blaming media. That's just simply a tool or a conduit as well. But there seems to be a movement towards extremes. And as a result of that, things that have been, quote unquote, the norm now become demonized, right? Again, it's that pendulum swinging, right? I'm all for people expressing themselves in very particular and specific ways, right? I have some conditions around that for my personal values, right? But at the end of the day, people want to be who they want to be, and they're not causing harm to others, and that's not their deliberate intention. Fuck them. Let them be who they want to be. Let us be who we want to be, right? That's freedom, so to speak. So, and I get it gets complex when we say, hey, be who you want to be free, but it also comes with conditions. I'm really speaking to personal sovereign values here, right? Of
course.
But I think this woke agenda and ideology, firstly, it's not really woke in the true essence of where woke originated from and the term originated from.
Right.
And I think it's just been taken to extremes, man. So I think that's part of it. It's a long-winded way of saying, I've never been asked that question before, so I had to really think about that.
Yeah.
But I'd say that they're the major contributing factors from my perspective.
I think in the beginning of a relationship, you're assessing if this is the right person for me or not. Do we connect emotionally, intellectually? Is this person attractive enough? So you're assessing if the person is right for you or not. But at some point, like you're saying, after that honeymoon butterfly phase, it gets to this point where if things aren't working out, a lot of people are quick to say, okay, this person's not the right person for me. I could find someone else on my dating app. Boom. There's 23 different options here. But what do you think about, instead of trying to think about whether this person is the right person or not, the better question is, am I willing to do the work to make it right with this person? And vice versa, if they are willing to do the work as well.
Yes, yeah, I think that's a great start, right? I think we exhaust all the options that we have access to. I think it's difficult to make an assessment of, is this, for the most part, not for everyone, but for the majority of people, because we're disconnected from our true selves, to make the assessment of, is this person right for me during the honeymoon phase? Because you're only getting really a polarized version of that person. You're getting their best foot forward. So you're making an assessment on their best foot, on their best version of themselves, right? And so the better thing to do is either go all out and be yourself from the beginning, or don't hold such a rigid high expectation on yourself and the relationship, and let it unfold. And let it unfold through the stages, and then make your decisions, right? And be more realistic, so to speak, or be more encompassing with how you make your decisions about staying or going.
From your 15 plus years of doing this kind of work,
24,
your website says 15, man.
Old. I'm old, Joseph. I'm old.
What are the top 3 most important factors that you've noticed in couples that have magical relationships? What are the top 3 things that you've noticed?
Yeah, firstly, I'd say definitely go to the Gottman Institute, because there's some fantastic research that's been done there. But for me, some of the top 3 attributes for successful couples is they maintain a level of physical intimacy with each other, and they prioritize that. And that doesn't mean it has to be every night. It could even be just once a month. The frequency is less relevant. It's quality. And it's also a conversation between them, right? Like it's an agreement and a connection between them, like how they come to that, how they arrive at that. But the physical intimacy is there. Time. What I mean by time is they have time with each other, dedicated time, quality time with each other, and dedicated quality time apart. So they have separate lives, right? They're not codependent. They're interdependent. They're not codependent.
Yeah.
Right. And then they have agreements, like really clear agreements around how they do conflict, how they manage big important issues, whether that's children, whether that's money, whether that's where they live, whatever it may be. Right. They're just really clear on their agreements. And back to the second point around quality time by themselves and with each other, This is where they also engage in novelty together, right? This is where there's spontaneity. This is where there's mystery. This is where one of the partners may organize a 2-day getaway somewhere and say, hey, tomorrow morning I've packed your bag, be ready by 9 a.m. We're going somewhere for 2 days. The kids are taken care of, whatever. Like there's a commitment to spending time together and just with each other, like free of devices, free of distractions. That's part of that second piece. So I wouldn't say they're the top three, but they're three pretty big ones.
Yeah. Love it. Stefanos, who pays?
Thank you, honey.
When you say thank you, honey, like that, I mean, you don't really give me an option but to pay. It's just an observation because it's something I've noticed.
Oh, we can split the bill if you like.
No.
I can whip out a calculator and we can.
No, okay. You need to.
How many glasses of wine did you have?
Oh, sure.
Like, you're like three
Shut
more,
up.
right?
Okay, that's not what I mean.
Yeah, I think it all evens out,
Don't you remember last night you said you were gonna pay for food today? At the end of the meal, you said, "Thanks. Tomorrow I'll get it."
Sure, but then you picked up the bill and I thought you wanted to pay, so I said, thank you, honey.
Okay, but it was there for such a long time. I mean,
I didn't see it.
you didn't see it.
No, I didn't. I didn't see it, or I didn't notice it. We were just having a nice dinner.
You didn't see the bill when it got put on the table.
No, I didn't, Carl.
So the waiter came in and put it in the middle of the table just there, and you didn't happen to see it get put there.
Oh my God.
What? I'm asking you seriously now, though, because.
Wow.
What's wow? What are you doing? No, just don't. Wait. You sit down. You sit down.
I'm just trying to figure out what exactly I did wrong. You seriously?
This is the age old debate. Now, listen, check this out, man. I believe, I'm a little more old school. I believe that the man we got to protect and provide. The man pays, but then my Gen Z young gentlemen will say, well, how long do I have to pay for? At what point does the women contribute or chip in? I'm like, well, I had no problem. As long as I had the money, I had no problems taking care of that. So even for my guy friends too. Where do you draw the line on that?
Yeah, man, it's really a personal, at the end of the day, it's a personal choice and it's what your values are, right? And so for me, I align with you where it feels in alignment for me to do that, to pay, to provide, to be in provision, right? That doesn't mean that my wife doesn't, in our relationship, that she doesn't earn money. We do business together, we teach together, right? So we are producive and creative together. We're creating provision for our family together. And she's also in her dharma and her gift. She's in her creativity. She loves doing that, whether she's getting paid for it or not. She loves teaching. She loves supporting. She loves doing what she does, as do I, right? I did this for so many years, man, without getting paid a cent. It was costing me money, so there's that side of things. But in terms of your question, like who pays, for me, chivalry is important. And, when I was researching this many years ago and really understanding where chivalry came from. So where chivalry came from, do you know the origins of chivalry?
No, please, enlighten us.
So the origins of chivalry specifically are from the medieval ages, where they were finding, society at the time was finding that men were coming back from war just very fucking disorientated and very disconnected from society, obviously, witnessing blood and gore and death and violence and all of that, right? And so what was happening is it was just proving to be very difficult for society and the immersion of men back into their family unit with alcohol and violence and all of that, right? And so what they came up with this chivalrous code that these warriors would live by, and they would uphold, and they would be supported in doing so, and they would integrate this back into society. And so part of that was really being available for our women as men and being available to our families. And so when I look at it from that perspective, it's really moving beyond our wounding and beyond our pain, not in a superficial sense where we're repressing and or suppressing, but where we're actually dealing with our stuff so that we can be available to ourselves and to our women and children as men. And so for me, part of that is, yes, let's help our families and our women and our communities feel safe by being better versions of ourselves. And part of that, it can extend into the value of, hey, I've got this. I've got this check. I've got you. Is it wrong for a woman to pay for a dinner? Fuck no, it's not, man. Not in the world that we live in, right? Like, definitely not. It's definitely not wrong. And if you're a man and you're coming from scarcity and you're coming from fear and you're not able to produce and you haven't tapped into that energetic, that's on you to not come from scarcity and fear. And that's on you to actually build that muscle as well. And you know what? It's a beautiful fucking muscle to build, man. The confidence, the discipline, the self-awareness, the knowledge that's cultivated, the discernment that's cultivated from hard work and earning, spending that in very deliberate ways. There's a maturity that comes with that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I was younger in high school, I took this girl out, Ruby, and we went to some like coffee shop and she wanted a croissant and a coffee. And the shit came out to $18, man, in New York City. And I didn't have that much. And I couldn't believe it, man. Like, of all the days I asked my mom for a couple bucks, she said no. She had enough of my, smoochiness. So yeah, I mean, I do kind of feel for these guys, because at a certain point, it's like, do they always have to pay? How would you even bring up a conversation like that to a girl? Like, hey, I'm sorry, but I don't have enough. Can you chip in? Like, it's such an awkward conversation piece.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's a real life example and scenario. So for me, man, honesty isn't always the best policy. There are scenarios where honesty can get you in trouble, and we don't have to go down that path now. But generally speaking, you're going to get creative. If you don't have the money, and you don't feel, it doesn't feel in alignment for you to ask and say, I would personally feel awkward. I wouldn't ask a woman, not for because of it's an ego thing, right? And man, let me just be really transparent with something as well to give some context to this. So when I met my wife, she was earning probably 25 to 27x what I was earning, right?
Wow.
I was very transparent with her from the beginning. I was rebuilding myself. I'd gone through years of doing deep inner work. I let my businesses go. I dissolved them. I got into massive credit card debt. I was just building myself back up. I was on the up, right? I was super transparent with her, and I was super clear on who I was, and I was super confident in my being, what I offered and what I could do and what I couldn't do, right? I never really asked her for anything per se. She offered because she saw who I was and she saw how I was being, and she knew that not only did I have potential, I was living my potential. And, being together, we've amplified each other in a very few short years. Man, got way out of debt very, very early on. It's irrelevant what I'm doing and what I'm not doing now, because this isn't about my ego. But the point is that where I am today is eons in front of where I was. And a big part of that is because of our relationship and how she saw me with compassion and non-judgment, right? So I want to just let you guys know, I'm not just talking from a place of, I made millions of dollars in my early 20s and I haven't stopped since. No, I've been broke most of my life. And it's only the last few years that I've come into affluence and wealth, right? Yeah. So I just want to let you guys know that I've been there. I've been there, man. It's tough. So for me, it's, you got to get creative with the dates that you go on.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That number one, like, get really creative. There's a bunch of shit you can do that doesn't cost much at all. And number two, if you want to be really real, say, look, this is where I'm at in my life. I'm in a building phase. I can't take you to the restaurant where it's $200 a head, but this is what I can do. And this is what I'm interested in doing. Now, if she says, cool, I've got plenty of money. I've got an awesome job. I make, 6 figures, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Or I've got this, I've got that. Hey, let me pay. And she really wants to pay and she's genuinely okay with that. That's your call. Like, don't let your ego get in the way if that's what she wants to do. If she's doing it because, she's just doing it to make you feel better, then she's going to build resentment. But you got to read the play on that, right? Yeah. But there's plenty of things you can do. Be direct, be real, and keep leading. Don't collapse. Don't break down, right? Like, keep open, have an open heart, have an open posture, be honest.
Yeah. Stefanos, one of the things that I really appreciate about you is that there are a dime a dozen of these dating experts. Everyone's a relationship expert these days on social media, man. I don't know where these people are coming from, but they're popping up everywhere. And you seem to be one of the wiser ones. And so I want to play you a couple of videos. Check this out, brother.
Before you get into your next relationship, I want you to ask yourself this one question. Does this person bring me peace, or problems. Because if she's not bringing you peace, she is not the one.
What the fuck was that, brother? Now you're telling me that this chick makes millions of dollars with that bullshit content? I mean, no shit. If she brings you problems, she ain't the one, motherfucker. Like, what? Am I missing something here, man? No, so I need to know your honest opinion, man. You got to be scrolling through and seeing bullshit content like that. How does that make you feel? I want to know. Seriously, man. Don't be just let's have an honest conversation here.
Yeah, honest conversation. Yeah. So when I'm in my shadow, man, I get not envious, because envy I think is a healthy thing. I get jealous. I get fucking frustrated. I get angry, and I get jealous. I'm like, well, how's this person got millions of views and their content's fucking shit? And I look at mine. Of course, I'm biased. I'm getting in my ego. I get it.
No, but I'm endorsing. I'm saying for the people watching this, Stefanos, your content is amazing. It's like there's wisdom in there.
Yeah, but I get frustrated. I get angry. I get fucking. I lose my mind. I'm like, oh my god, all this hard work I'm doing. But then I remind myself as well. Right. Like, I sit in that for a bit. I don't mind. I walk around with it. I fucking sit in it. Christine will say, hey, what's up? I'm like, fucking idiots on Instagram and this. I'll just be with it for a bit and I'll let it go and eventually let it go whenever I do. And then I sit with that and I go, I would still do this irrespective. I would still share irrespective. And I mean, I don't get paid to share, obviously. Indirectly, of course. But I was doing this for years, man, not getting any views or anything, right? And I loved it, and I still love it. I just love sharing. I love creating dialogue and conversations, right? I love getting curious and unpacking things that are really complex and making them simple and making them digestible. And I'm still going to do all that, right? So I just come back to my heart and I come back to myself. And sometimes I'll also use that content as inspiration to, well, how can I expand on this with greater substance? Like, how can I bring my flavor to this, right? Because obviously, I mean, it also speaks to sort of the state of the world, man. There are a number of people out there that have done exceptionally well, not only financially, but from a social validation perspective. And it's showing me where the general consensus of consciousness is and what they're looking for. And there's nothing wrong with superficial and surface level learning, right? It may not be where you and I live, right? And that's okay, because we have to start at the superficial and the surface. I'm not saying that the people that are deeper than the superficial and the surface are better than. Not at all. I'm saying, like, it's showing us where consciousness is, right? And so if you're going to meet the people, you're going to meet the people where you want to meet them. And you also got to choose what's good for you. So for me, the decision I make is like, I want to be me. I don't want to compromise how I see the world and all of that just to appeal to more people. And I'm also really super willing to learn from those that are maybe simplifying even at a deeper level. So where can I simplify? Like, where can I simplify to maybe capture a wider audience, but within my value set still?
Exactly. You got to stay true to you, man.
You got to stay true. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this one is something that's is a very controversial topic amongst a lot of men versus women. And again, I don't even know what degree this guy has. Not that degrees, in my opinion, matters, but please check this out.
Getting into a relationship with a woman that has a body count of 10 or more is like making an investment in something that everyone else got for free. Imagine that you're at Costco and they have all those little booths giving away free samples of food. So you get in line for your sample. You're standing behind a long line of guys. When it's finally your turn, the girl says, that'll be $20. You say, well, all those other guys just got it for free. She replies, yeah, but I've been on a healing journey. I know my worth now. That'll be $20. So you're investing in something a lot of other guys simply got for free. Now, a friend of mine pointed out to me a couple of days ago, maybe I'm setting the bar too high. This kind of experience is the only experience available to a lot of men. Fair enough. If you're that guy and you'd rather have that experience than no experience at all, understandable. But also understand this. You're taking your turn on the town bicycle. Being the town bicycle, it would be very unwise to take that bicycle home and put it in your garage thinking it's your bicycle. It is not. It's still the town bicycle. You're just borrowing it so you have a little bit of experience riding a bicycle. Taking it home and putting it in your garage is simply too much of an investment when all those other guys got a ride for free.
Damn, that sounds a little harsh to me, man. So basically, this relationship guru is stating that a woman has a body count of greater than 10. That's a town bicycle. It seems a little harsh, man.
So
I'm not sure what the
Oh, my
question is,
Lord.
man. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be super honest with you. Does he have a point? Sure, he has a point. Like, he has a point. Like, there could be some people that isn't a very real applicable scenario. For the majority of people, no, I completely disagree. Not completely, but I disagree with him deeply, and I'll tell you why. Because when I hear what he's saying in the way that he's saying it, it's like saying once a cheater, always a cheater. Bullshit. He's saying people don't change. So she wanted to explore her sexuality in her youth, or she wanted to explore her sexuality for a period of time in her fucking life. That's her prerogative. If she was doing it intentionally and she was doing it deliberately, good on her. If she was doing it from a healthy place, then good on her. Now, if she's doing it from a compensatory place, if she's doing it because she experienced sexual abuse and hasn't resolved that and now is highly promiscuous and seeking validation from men, has a quote-unquote body count of 50 or 100 or 30 or whatever, or 2, it's coming from an unhealthy place. That's not healthy for her as an individual. And if she's bringing that into a relationship, that's not healthy for the relationship. Right? Whether it's a she or a he, it's irrelevant. I won't even tell you what my body count is. I don't. You fucking lose your mind. Like, and I don't say that to brag. I say that because in the past I was a particular person and I've changed. Even if I was single today, I wouldn't do and be how I was, 15 years ago. I just wouldn't. I've outgrown that for me. That I just don't want to be that person anymore. So to label someone just because she has slept with 10 men, has had sex with 10 different men, that's really harsh, man. And I think it's immature and accurate as well. Like, it's got to be on an individual basis. Yeah. People change if they want to, and people have capacity to change.
Bro, if you check out the comment section on that post, man, there are people like, yeah, you're speaking the truth. Nailed it. I mean, there are a lot of people, lonely guys that are hating out there, man.
That's the shit I was talking about earlier, man, with Emma, with men's rights movements and MGTOW and pickup artistry. MGTOW's like men going their own way, where they're demonizing women and they're just saying like women are only going to cause you trouble. Like only have like the men going their own way movement is this. It's not a celibacy, or for some it is, but it's really a complete movement away from women, and you're only seeing women if you're going to have sex with them. That's it, nothing else, right? Whenever you want to. Otherwise, you're not living your life. You're not integrating your lives with women. Like it's this disassociation from society.
Yeah. Hey, I know you got to run soon. So final question for you. So this is my office, and
I love it.
Right in that corner, I was having a conversation with this young bloke the other day, and he's a tech guy. He's like a tech marketing kind of guru, and he told me that his latest research shows that 40% of online traffic now is porn. Can you believe that, mate? 40%.
I thought it would be more.
Now, what it was 30% the last time I checked about a year ago. Now it's up to 40%. Wow. And the porn industry makes more money than the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball combined. That's a lot of money. And now with this, you've seen this Apple Pro Vision here that they got going on there, $3,500 to $8,000 it goes for, depending on
$8,000.
3,500 to I've seen it as high as 8,000. Someone was saying it, because you could hook it up and add more RAM space or whatever. It's kind of like the phone, right? You could always
it's like your own computer, man. It's a very personal device. I haven't tried it yet, but I will try it. I'm curious.
Oh, I'm not going to try it, man. First off, I think it's going to be super ultra addicting, and I'm all anti anything that's going to try to fuse man and AI. So that's my thing. I'm not down.
I'm going to try. My curiosity is too big. I have to try it.
Well, no, by all means, try it. But recently, ChatGPT opened up the ChatGPT shop, and the most common customized program that people want is an AI girlfriend. And these bots and these programs are going, this is the next race. I recently had a guy hitting me up that I haven't spoken to in years, asking me if I want to take part in creating AI therapy. He said within the next 2 years, most therapists are going to be out of jobs because they're going to have AI therapists.
I've got my own GPT, man. I call it Steph GPT, and so it's a synthesis of I've put over 1,000 inputs, technically over 2,000 inputs, right? Questions and responses in this thing. Plus, I've synthesized other, major authors and thought leaders in the space of cognitive development and psychosocial development, psychology, developmental psychology, trauma, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not meant to be a thing for advice. It's meant to be just support and and curiosity. But it's just like it's a Steph GPT. You go in there, you ask a question, hey, I feel sad today. And it just asks you a whole bunch of questions back, like in my persona, so to speak. It's trained in my persona.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Well, exactly. But do you see this whole Apple Pro Vision or Apple Vision Pro and the porn thing evolving, and maybe they might have
Dangerous,
some
man.
simulation thing device added to it? Like,
You remember
see this being a
100%.
major issue?
Man, it's not just a major issue. It's going to be an epidemic. Do you remember? Well, two things on that. So, firstly, some of the robotics and the sex dolls, the sex dolls that are being infused now with AI, and the hyper realism of these sex dolls, and you can make to order now. You can choose. I think over with some of the companies, it's hundreds of attributes that you can choose to create the perfect person, men and women, by the way. Now you infuse that with AI, and you infuse that with goggles as well. So there's an AR layer over it. Man, like the skin it's like it's real. It's crazy, man. That's that. Do you remember Demolition Man?
Demolition Man. Wait,
With
is that
Sylvester
Sylvester
Stallone?
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember that scene with Sandra Bullock, and they're having sex with the glasses on?
Oh shoot! Yeah. Holy.
We're going down that
happening.
path, man. We're going down that path. Porn's dangerous, man. Like mainstream, general, regular porn it's so dangerous for so many reasons. And this combined with it.
So, not that you're the porn addiction experts, but in your opinion, from your perspective, what's the best way to overcome something like that? Because, dude, it's not slowing down, and I'm not an expert in that. And my thing is always that the opposite of addiction is connection. And if people
Correct.
are really addicted to something like that, it's because they're not connected enough.
They lack a
Especially
connection.
with technology, there's a saying that the further we move towards technology, the farther we move away from nature. I went out to Sedona, Arizona, and climbed a mountain when I was in a really bad spot, and it was a great way to just mentally cleanse from all the bullshit and the technology. But how about for you? Like, if you have a client, what are the ways that you coach them to help them overcome these kind of technological addictions?
I'm an additive person, and I think it's just the way I understand the brain is humans don't like things to be taken from them. And so before I make any changes with existing behavior, I want to add a behavior. So if someone has a technological addiction, let's just say it's a porn addiction, right? Like it's just watching porn on the phone and, multiple times a day, masturbating, or once a day or a few times a week, but they need it. Like I need it. I fucking need it. What I'm going to say to them is I'm going to get to where it's accessible to find connection in other places. And I'm going to ask them to bring that into their lives. I'm not even going to say to them, hey, you're watching porn 7 days a week, watch it 6 days a week. Or you're watching this kind of porn, watch this kind. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not even going to look at porn. I don't care about it. I'm not interested in it. I want them to develop habits outside of pornography that may influence them naturally and organically to move away from pornography. That's the starting point that I'm going to come from. Generally speaking, for a very specific example like pornography. And also, Joseph, I'm going to really get to the core of what is driving it. Is it habit? Is it purely habit? Is it running away from something? Is it unexpressed fantasies? Like, I'm going to really get to the core of what's happening there as well as we're exploring that.
Yeah. So Stefanos, how do people find you? You do your online coaching. And do you have an online course that people could take too? Like, what do you have for people who want to work with you?
Yeah, so a number of different courses, man. But right now, my wife and I, Christine Hassler, we're in the middle of our Inner Child Journey to Joy, our Reconnect course. So it's a 10-week Inner Child course. It really is about bringing joy and pleasure back into your lives in authentic, sustainable, meaningful ways. And it's about connecting to the parts of our psychology that have been hurt, that are still unconsciously driving our behaviors today as adults, and really getting into deeper connection with those parts and applying healing and wholeness to those parts. So that course starts at the end of February 29th. And you can find out more at christinehassler.com/reconnect. An early bird special, I think it finishes Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. So a couple of days away. And then so you can find obviously that course there, which is a really powerful course. We've been doing that since 2020, by the way, together.
Nice.
And then you can find me at Stefanos Sifandos on any of my social media. So like mainly Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and my website. If you want to work with me, coachwithsteph.com.
Yeah. I'm going to list that all right here. We're going to post this on Valentine's Day, my friend. So we'll get it out there for all the lovebirds.
Nice.
My brother, thank you so much for coming out. I know you're a really busy guy. You got a family, you got a baby waiting for you. And
thanks,
for what it's worth, I want you to know that you are my favorite namaste relationship expert out there, man. You speak the truth, and it really resonates with me. So
you're the best, brother. I appreciate you, man. And you know, I very much, you know, it's reciprocal. I've shared this with you before. I very much value your work and the way you make the complexities and the layers of the mind just accessible and fun, man. Your relatability and approachability. I mean, we need more practitioners like you and psychiatrists like you out in the world. I just really value you, man, and I appreciate you very much, brother.
I appreciate you too. Much love, man. Have an awesome night. We'll chat soon.
You too. Take care, bro. Bye.
Be well.